Welcome back to Prague and the PokerStars.net European Poker Tour. 4 players remain at the final table of the main event. Those 4 players are Ramzi Jalassi from Sweden, who has the chip lead right now, 10.9 million. David Boyasian from the Netherlands, last year's runner-up, playing 8.8 million. Sotirios Koutoupas from Greece with 4.8 million, and the short stack, Ben Warrington from the UK with 1.36 million, just 14 big blinds. As the blinds increase, of course, to 50, 100 with a 10k ante. Still playing for huge sums of money. Everyone now guaranteed $250,000. The winner will get 835,000 euros. And just before the break, Matt Broughton, along came Virginia McKenna and released the lion back into the wild.
I know, it was born. It was a beautiful moment as we watched him run off into the tall grass. He did very well. Hats off to him, frankly. And this is tremendous news for Ben, really. I know Ben wouldn't want to get to this position the way that he has done, but €250,000 is, considering he was short stacked when we started, and he's had a right rough ride of it. He's hung on, and you just never know.
Quick reminder that it's James Hartigan and Matt Broughton on commentary duties here in Prague, and we are accepting your questions and comments on Twitter using the hashtag EPTLive and on emails to nuts@pokerstars.tv. Matt started a new competition called Whose Hat Is That? Round 4 you put up during the break, Matt, and very quickly several people called Jonathan Duhamel. So we've now gone to round 5 and we have yet to have a correct answer. Dave Osman guesses that it's Joe Carter. It is not Joe Carter, I presume.
It is not. It is not.
So search on Twitter, use the hashtag EPTLive, and you'll see Whose Hat Is That number 5. Have a look at the picture. It is a baseball cap, I believe. Who does it belong to? Who's wearing the hat? Can you guess correctly?
Let me just remind myself. Okay, yeah, okay. And Rob is not going to play because he said it's not fair. That's fine. That's fine.
Well, Rob actually thinks it's Duhamel again. No, it's not. And I'm sorry, it's not Chris Moneymaker either. It is Duhamel again.
Don't say it out loud. Yes, it was him again. Oh, Rob, right. Don't play anymore, Rob.
I must have looked at the wrong picture. Number 5, right?
Number 5, it was also Duhamel.
Oh,
that was the whole point. Is I had one look here. I'll show you the originals. See, I had that was Duhamel with the hoodie.
Yeah.
And then immediately I put him with the kind of the thing on. So
sorry, I thought it was the other one that you'd selected.
No, I'm going to do that now.
Okay, number 6 is about to make its way into the Twitter sphere.
God, do you know what? I wasted my whole 15-minute break for nothing.
Back to the poker, which has seen a raise from Boyasian up to 210,000. Sorry, a raise from Koutoupas. And now a 3-bet from Ramzi Jalassi in the big blind. 565,000 total. By the way, for those of you asking where is the picture, what you need to do is search hashtag EPTLive. Look at our timeline and you'll see that Matt, who posts us The Waster, is putting up pictures.
It's not much of a competition, to be honest. It's more to keep me amused than you as a viewer. You know, it's just one of those things. I got behind, I got committed to it, and then I found myself trapped in a really average idea.
Okay, well, it looks like Koutoupas has called the 3-bet. He has the advantage of position. Jalassi with the betting lead, and obviously the monster chip lead. And a king-queen deuce flop with 2 clubs.
The way Jalassi's playing, you think, how's anyone going to take a chunk out of him? It's going to take a real bit of persistent work here.
Oh, Matt, you've made it too easy.
I don't care. I don't care anymore.
This may well be the 6th and final round of Whose Hat Is That?
No, I've got a couple more.
Jalassi's continued for 375,000.
Oh dear. Whose hat is that? It's true. Although that is countered by the fact there's absolutely nothing up for grabs. Which I kind of think that sort of, well, it kind of explains itself, doesn't it? Bang. Hello.
There is a pretty big pot building here, nearly 2 million in the middle. The 6 of spades on the turn. Is Ramsey Jalassi going to fire again? Yes, he is. And a reminder of chip denominations. Blues are 5,000, yellows are 25,000, green and blacks are 100,000. So that's 1 million.
Nice. Well, why not? Why not make it juicy? Let's come on, guys. Let's get some fireworks going here. Wow, just is not going to end, I think. Wowee.
1 million apiece, and they're going to the river, and Kutapas does not have a pot-sized bet behind. The 4 of clubs on the river completes a potential flush.
Nearly 4 million to be taken here. Still with another roundabout. Okay, now let's check. He's going, okay, I'm scared.
Jalassi says, I think you've got it.
Does he want to show? Are you showing or are you mucking? He's mucked. Okay, so even better news is Kutapas doesn't even have to show. He's done that. He's done that a bit, hasn't he? Actually, no, tell a lie. No, it's Boyasin that was doing more of that, wasn't it? Taking it to the river and then just giving it up. Wow.
I'll tell you what, Jalassi has now still got the chip lead, but he's no longer got a monster chip lead. It's pretty even between him and Boyasin. So 8.98 million for Jalassi, 8.77 million for Boyasin, and Kutapas is up to 6.8 million.
Yep, yeah, and that's the first time in our 113 hands. That's the first time anyone's even vaguely been near Jalassi as far as his chip lead goes. But you can see there, it's
been all that distance between them, and now it's very, very close. Arguably the biggest misstep of Jalassi's final table so far. Some competition entries coming through. This is Whose Hat Is That round number 6. Suggestion here from Joshua that it is Huckseed.
No, I've had some, George Costanza, no. Daniel Negreanu, no.
Robert says, is it Phil Helmuth?
No.
Jersey says, is it Chris Moneymaker?
No. Good, at least.
Dave Osmond thinks it's Eric Seidel.
Oh, no. Peter Eastgate's another guess, no. Good.
We've got a tough one, finally.
Phew.
I love the fact that Robbie is so confident. He said, that is Daniel Negreanu. No, it isn't.
No. Was there cap letters and everything? Was he that sure?
No, I put the extra emphasis.
Oh, you put it on there for him. I don't know why I don't get as many Twitters as you. Even my iPad hates me. It's such a weak competition. Even my tablet device has gone, do you know what? I just cannot be bothered with you. Oh, Jalassi.
Not going to slow down. Raises his buttons, 200,000.
Why would he slow down? Just because he had that one blip?
This is why, because he might have Ben Warrington shove for 12 big blinds. Now, has Kutapas acted? Yes, he has. He's folded. So it is back on Jalassi, who's got the count now. And Ramsey Jalassi calls. And once again, Ben Warrington is at risk. He moved all in with King 10, and Ramsey Jalassi has called him with Ace Deuce.
Wow.
On this instance, Ben Warrington's got 2 live cards. Jalassi, the marginal favourite with the Ace Deuce. Ben Warrington once again at risk, once again in need of a double up.
Very specific flop being called for. Whoa, bit of a connection.
Is a 10 on the flop, so Warrington takes the lead, and Jalassi now looking for an ace.
Yeah, jumps massively into the lead.
Or a 5.
Well, funny enough, I didn't want to say at the beginning, hand the weak aces have been tremendously fortunate this tournament.
Ben Warrington has to fade aces and 5s on the river. It's a king, giving him 2 pair and giving him another double up, and taking another chunk out of Ramsey Jalassi's stack, meaning that David Boyasian is now the chip leader at the final table. This is the first time today that Ramsey Jalassi has not had the chip lead. Warrington up to 26 big blinds, Jalassi down to 7.8 million.
Yeah, I mean, it's all relative, nothing to get too scared over, but it is kind of a landmark moment. Jalassi has dropped his lead that he's carried the whole day long.
More suggestions for whose hat is that round 6.
Hit me.
Andrew Lichtenberger.
No.
Boris Becker.
No.
Vanessa Selbst.
No. Couldn't find a picture of her in a hat. I tried.
Jason Mercier. Again.
No.
Eric Seidel.
No.
Eugene Kachalov.
No.
Aha.
Do you know what the worst thing is? That some of the people are actually playing the game back at me and doing a much better job. Mark Purvis, who we know is a winner of an earlier pathetic competition, has sent one back to me.
Is that George Danza?
I don't know. But there's a copyright in that picture, and unless you're prepared to pay the license, I am going to report you to the police. That's all I'm going to say. But see, look, WHIT, Wit, whose hat is that, is really taking off across the nation. It's going to be trending. I don't really understand how that works, but I'm pretty confident.
Never mind across the nation, across the world.
Across the world, yeah, man. Oh, do you know what? This is me. This is me made. I'm probably going to have to register whosehatisThat.co.uk. I can't afford .com. They're quite expensive. And probably this will become my my full-time job.
Yeah, you might have thought about registering that before you put the whole concept out in the public domain via the internet.
Do you know what? Just if you love something, set it free, yeah? if it was meant to be mine, actually, I don't know if it's going to work in this instance. It will come back. Anyway, look, flop. Oh, I've hit that massively.
Well, Kutapas raised small to big. Boyasian defended, as he's been known to, and David Boyasian is now in a great position to get to the heads-up stage of this tournament for the second year in a row and potentially go one better than he did last year against Martin Finger and actually win this title.
He's consistent, and it's been working for him on this occasion. Kutapas looks like he's just grabbed himself a handful of the 100,000s, either to play with or to chop out some sort of reaction. Give me a call. 225, it's a call. Okay, nearly $1 million in the pot now. King of Hearts down on the turn.
Check on the turn. 10 of clubs on the river. So Kutapas check called for 225,000 on the flop. He was the pre-flop aggressor. Is he going to bet the river? I noticed that someone's now fixed a Greek flag to our set.
Yes, I saw that vandalism, and let's be quite clear, that is what it is. Is that the trophy?
That is the trophy.
I've not seen it properly.
You can just see it in the background there. If you get an opportunity during the break, do take a look at it. It is gorgeosity in a trophy.
Wow.
So Kutapas has led the river for 475,000. And Boyassian did the classic, go for chips, then go for my cards, then go back for chips again. I don't know. This is the classic. I've just claimed the tournament chip lead. I don't want to lose it again so quickly.
Do you know, I've only just got it, and it seems a waste to throw it away quite so immediately.
Boyassian will fold. And some more suggestions for whose hat is that number 6.
Oh, I'm loving the fact that this hasn't immediately been solved. This is probably the best thing that's happened to me all day.
Jason Somerville.
No.
Dave Osmond suggests John Duffy.
No.
Robert Barron comes back with another guess. Is it the mouth, Mike Mattisau?
No.
A little bit off the wall. Peter says Sam Simon.
Wow. No.
Another suggestion for Jason Somerville. We've already established that that is an incorrect answer. Norman's suggested Dario Minieri.
No.
Can I say where a lot of these people are going wrong?
Well, it depends if it's going to spoil it for me.
I'm not going to spoil it completely. All I'll say is a lot of the names that are being put forward are actually quite good at poker.
That's it. Say no more. Say no more. But it's a good point.
I have to be honest, I always worry about clicking on picture links sent to us by our viewers, especially after that hot dog incident from Copenhagen.
Oh, yeah, they was scary times.
Ben Morrington has raised under the gun, and hope 2+ knows it's his turn.
Hello.
By the way, I love it. As soon as I say the people you're suggesting are actually good at poker, therefore suggesting that the person in the picture is not good at poker, the first suggestion that comes through is Victor Blom.
Yeah, okay. Not entirely sure about that.
Sorry, Bobby. And Kev Math suggests it might be Jason Alexander.
No, it's getting vicious now. See what you've done. You've made people be nasty.
Warrington continues for 230,000. A 10-7-3 rainbow flop.
Well, this is becoming quite juicy. Over $1 million there. Queen of Hearts on the turn. He's going to keep going at this. Bet 230,000 on the flop. Now 380,000 after that Queen of Hearts turn.
Suggestions for this competition are getting quite amusing now. We will bring you the answer after this hand. which implies that someone has correctly guessed the subject of the photograph. And Kutapas will fold, and Ben Warrington will win that pot.
Nice. So where are they going with this?
Okay, well, let's have some of the incorrect guesses first of all. Boris Becker, Jamie Gold. Matt, is it your hat?
No, I don't wear a hat.
James Hartigan, Barry Greenstein, Patrick Antonius, Norman Chad, and several people have got it right. And the first one I saw that was right. And of course, I pressed that button, it all goes wrong. The first suggestion that was right came in from Gloax, Joe Stapleton.
It was Stapes. It was the man they call Joe Stapleton. I know it's a bit of a cheat, but I thought, well, you're getting these so quickly, I kind of need to step it up a chunk. Good, well, that's number 6 taken care of.
Is there a 7th?
Yep. Gonna get this within seconds, but now I'm committed, we have to. Well, bet and win does the job sometimes. It's going to be harder to make that work. Now we're four-handed, people start loosening up, opening the range, start meta-game action rather than so much just looking at my cards.
Ben Warrington's got his stack up to 3.1 million. Suddenly he's playing 31 big blinds.
Yeah, and importantly also the fact that Jalassi has come down is now that 3 million hurts any of these players.
Yeah.
You know, no one's going to be too loose about giving up potentially a third of their stack. Main raise from Jalassi on the button.
Oh, I see that whose hat is that? Number 7's up.
Yes.
Oh, that's so easy.
Yeah, well, you know, I thought the last one kind of stumped people. Okay. Our Greek friend has gone for this. He's going to play this out of position. 500,000 nearly in the pot already. Queen 8-7 rainbow. Action is on Kutapas.
Goes check, check on the flop. 6 of diamonds on the turn. Bet someone snap called. Absolutely. Do you know what? Less than a minute, in fact, a few seconds after you posted that photograph, OO is in there saying it's Boris Becker.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Although, again, luckily, I had some wrong answers as well, which always makes me feel good. As long as somebody got it wrong, there were quite a lot of correct answers. But there was also a Greg Mueller and a Negranu, spelt in a very interesting and unusual fashion.
Jalassi bets 200,000 on the turn. Kutapas check calls. 9 of diamonds, so now 4 cards to a straight. That goes check, check, and Kutapas says, I have a 7. Oh, Jalassi had the 7. And wow.
Wow.
Kutapas caught runner to make the nuts.
What? Okay. But no bet on the end. He's trying to trap Jalassis, maybe, I guess?
I guess he's trying to trap. He's hoping to get a bluff or some kind of thin value bet out of Jalassi and maybe set up the check raise. So look at that. How even it is between Jalassi and Kutapas now. Just 80,000 chips separate the guys in second and third. Boyassian with the chip lead now, an 84 big blind stack. Warrington chasing the pack, down but not out, and much healthier than he has been for most of this final table. And I can confirm that whose hat is that, which has now become whose hat is something beginning with S, or is it just a typo, Matt?
Oh, have I typed the wrong thing?
Yes.
Oh, you're probably sorry. Did I?
Whose hat is staring at you from the screen?
I can't even see my own post. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry, I've done the wrong letter there. They are next to each other on the keyboard. I wasn't really. I'm trying to watch the poker, which is kind of what I've been mostly employed to do. Yes, that last one is a typo. It should still be whose hat is this, or whose hat is that? I forget the name. I came up with it, but at the time.
Look, it's number 8, and it's a picture, and you have to tell us whose hat it is.
That's it. That's it. James absolutely captured the essence of the. By the way, just to make it clear, even though this appears to have really caught on, there is no prize. There is no point, is the other way of addressing this.
Keeps the social media contingent entertained.
Yeah, hey, do you know what? You know, we appreciate you joining in with us and sticking with us. So if in some way somebody did say, I hope this keeps going, this is fun. I don't know who that was, but do you know
sure they
what?
weren't referring to the final table?
No, no, they were specifically talking about the whose hat is that? Yes, it was Nate. Keep these whose hat is that rounds going. So much fun.
Bless you, Nate.
Thank you, Nate.
A button raise from Kutapas. And a call from Jalassi in the big blind. And those of you asking for the free roll password won't have to wait much longer. We'll get the information out there. An ace-jack-7 flop with 2 clubs. Don't know what that was, but I didn't like the sound of it.
Matt's hats. I can't believe I've got my own feed across the bottom of the screen. Being belittled in our own.
Kutapas has been on a tear this level.
I know, it's crazy stuff. I mean, look at him. He's roasted up here.
Jalassi now drops to 3rd on the leaderboard. And for those of you asking where you can see the pictures, you need to be following the EPT Live hashtag on Twitter. And if you want to play the EPT Live free roll starting at 9:15 this evening, Central European Time, that's 3 hours from now, you'll need the password coming up on your screen. The password for today's free roll is...
Whose hat? Oh, no.
Bahamas. All lowercase. Bahamas is the password for today's EPT Live free roll.
There you go.
Okay, hat number 8. Moneymaker.
Yep. You could have can you not like pick some of the ones that must be wrong before you hit me with Moneymaker? Because I've got people going there and
I just do them in the order that they come in. If someone is in there, first of all, with the correct answer, they deserve to be recognised for that.
No, fine.
And to be fair, Boyan makes a very good point here. Only Chris Moneymaker wears sunglasses on his hat.
Well, I didn't know that. Now I do.
But, by the way, there's no point... There are some people who just say Daniel Negreanu to every picture.
Yeah. That's not the way I roll.
Just to recap the action here, this is an unraised pot, blind on blind. And then went check on the flop. Jalassi bets 100,000 on the turn. Warrington calls. 9 of clubs on the river. And Jalassi will bet the river as well, 240,000. Warrington calls with King 7 for a pair of 7s, and that is good. Ace high is the hand for Jalassi. And I have to say, this has been a horrible level for Ramsey.
Yeah.
He gives up more chips.
He's on the slide here. I don't know whether his change attack because of the dwindling numbers of players, or whether he just is being unlucky. But he needs to stop the rot here because he's on his way downwards. He's by no means in trouble as far as the number of chips in front of him, but he'll want to avoid drifting down because now Ben can really damage him.
By the way, I believe that Whose Hat Is That number 9 is out there in the public domain. Pablo says, this is not fun, man. You are destroying my win rate playing so many tables and thinking about that damn hat.
Hey, people are asking me for a number 9 before. You know, just chill, all right? I'm happy. I'm happy that this has taken off.
I think I know who that might be.
Sweet. Keep it yourself, yeah, all right? Like these people need any help. Remember, sign up to whosehatisThat.co.uk. It's a £5 registration fee, but for that you do get a commemorative mug, and every Christmas a plate.
Just out of interest, how many of these things have you prepared?
I was busy in the break. You know when you were busy eating those crisps?
Yeah, I was hungry.
Oh, I'm hungry too. I had a donut for lunch, yeah? By the time we got there, all there was left was cheese and tomato. What do I not like? Cheese and tomato. That's why I had a donut for lunch. While you were just helping yourself to crisps, I was thinking about our viewers, yeah? I was thinking, how are we going to keep them engaged? How is James going to get that vote for best web thing if I don't keep everyone playing?
Matthias reckons it's Terence Chan, number 9.
No. Nice, though. I like where you've gone with that.
Jurgen says, is it Joseph Chung?
Nope.
Keep the suggestions coming in as we get to hand 125 of our final table. Four-handed action here in Prague. Alexis thinks it's your hat.
No. That much I can confirm, it is not.
Well, Ramsey Jalassi is not slowing down. Call from the small blind, and Jalassi then throws a raise in from the big blind, which it looks like Boastian has called. A 6-7-5 flop with 2 hearts.
We end up with 380,000.
$270,000. It's got to be more than that, right?
Yeah. I don't think that's correct.
Well, whatever the bet was, 350,000 by our calculations, it's just been raised. It's been clicked back to 700,000 by Boastian. The min check raise.
Jalassi's day just keeps getting more tricky.
Ramsey Jalassi will call. So the new chip leader against the former chip leader. 2 million in the middle and the 8 of diamonds on the turn. Guaranteed someone didn't like that card. Check raise the flop. Boastian loading up to fire the turn.
Yeah, he is going to keep coming.
It's another 700,000. And Ramsey Jalassi calls.
Yeesh.
We now have a pot of 3.4 million, with one more card to come, and that card is the Queen of Hearts. So now, a 4-card straight, a 3-card flush out there. And remember, Boassian just limped the small. He then called Jalassi's raise. He check-raised the flop, he led the turn. What does he do now on the river? Checks. And Ramsey Jalassi checks behind.
Wow, the trip 6 on top of the 7. Okay.
So a pair of 7s was the hand for Boassian, and a set of 6s the hand for Ramsey Jalassi. Ship the pot to Jalassi, and I think that will see him retake the tournament chip lead.
Yeah, must have hated that queen on the river.
Jalassi back up to 8.66 million. Boassian now third in chips with 6.4 million. And Jalassi saying it would have been tough had Boassian bet the river there, considering there was the 4-card straight and the 3-card flush out there. And more suggestions for whose hat is that.
Yep.
Another Joseph Chong nomination. Randy Liu.
No.
Doug Lee.
No.
Galen Hall.
That's a good shout, but it's not correct.
John Juanda.
No. Do you see how I paused there? That was like the sort of the X Factor thing when they go, and the winner is no.
Namley.
No.
Doesn't look like anyone's going to get this one. I like Boyans. I wish it was Doug Lee, but it's not. Jalassi raising small to big and getting a fold from Ben Warrington in the big blind. Jalassi's got his mojo back. Close to 8.8 million now. And good evening to Dave, who says, poker and a beer sounds good.
Oh, it does, doesn't it?
You watch the poker, you kick back with a beer. Don't forget to play that free roll. The password is Bahamas, all lowercase, if you fancy registering for the EPT9 free roll that starts at 9:15 this evening, local time.
I've revealed who the last one was.
You've actually given away the answer.
Given away the answer.
Is that how confident you are that no one was going to get it?
Yeah. Well, it was easy because I cheated.
Who's that?
It's Rihanna. I didn't say anything about Pokeball. I just said, whose hat is that? Yeah. They were getting it too easy, so I cheated. I've changed the rules.
And I love the fact that even though you've now given the correct answer, people are still guessing. Prahlad Friedman.
I think Rihanna would be quite upset if she heard that. Meanwhile, the boys are at it again.
Yes. Boassian raised to 200,000. Jalassi 3-bet the button to 500,000. Boassian calls. It's a 2-3-4 flop with 2 clubs. The board pairs on the turn. There was no betting action on the flop.
Another check for Boassian.
Johnny says, is it JC Tran?
Yes, it is. It's the singer-songwriter JC Tran under his umbrella.
Still goes check, check, and now there are 2 pair on board.
These guys, they make the pot $1 million before the flop comes down, and then they just get me.
Boassian takes a stab. 400,000.
Ace is going to win. Fours and deuces with the ace. or is it a king, or is it queen? Anybody with anything vaguely painty?
Mark Convey says, is it Theo Tran? Pack Kid says, is it Phil Ivey?
Just stop. Just stop now. We've revealed it.
And Micro says, is it Vanessa Selbst?
No, I told you I couldn't find a picture of her in a hat.
Just to clarify, for those of you who missed it, Matt has given the answer. It's not a poker player. It was a picture of Rihanna.
Yeah. I just happened to have it on my tablet device, just randomly for personal reasons.
Look at this. It's a raise from Ramsey Jalassi.
These boys.
1.175 million.
They can't help themselves, can they? Ben's sitting there and Soterius is going, well, this is quite nice. These lads just keep going at it. Would probably come at least second and third.
Boassian called, and it was ace deuce for Jalassi. He made a full house on the river. Ship the chips to the chip leader.
It's amazing how good the weak ace has been throughout this tournament. I think if we've learned one thing, it's actually that anything ace-5 and down is probably about the best starting hand possible.
What an amazing level, though, Matt. The first half of it saw Jalassi spewing spectacularly and saw Boassian actually take the chip lead. And now the second half seen Jalassi just run over everyone, get his stack back up to 10.6 million, and sees Boassian drop down to 47 big blinds, 4.7 million. It's not that much between him and Ben Warrington.
I know, it is. Swings and roundabouts. It's a silly game, but we love it. See, then that's why these positions matter so much. Big jumps now. 250,000, 310,000, 510,000. And the winner here at Prague is going to get 835,000 euros for their troubles. So all this jostling has some real-world effect.
Matrika says, is it Johnny Chan?
Is he asking me, is Rihanna Johnny Chan? Because that's really what he's saying, isn't it? No.
What we really want to know is when Johnny Chan's TV show is going to make it to air.
A lot of people waiting for that. Quite literally tens of people on the edge of their seats.
I pay my rent in euros, baby. Warrington has raised his button. 210,000. And this looks like a 3-bet being counted by Mr. Kutapas. Oh, Matash thinks he's got the answer. Is it Gavin Smith?
Yes. Yes, it's Gavin Smith.
You realise it will go through the phase where it stops being annoying and becomes funny again. Don't worry.
No, I'm loving it. I'm just glad that I didn't get ignored.
So the 3-bet is to 475,000. Does Warrington want to call and play the flop in position? Or does he want to reapply some pressure? He calls. Kutipas currently second in chips. Warrington, the lowest player in chips.
Wow.
Ace, King, 5 flop with 2 spades. There's someone on the PA system calling out cards from one of the side events, which is going to cause a lot of confusion.
Especially considering 2 of the cards from their flop was the same as 2 of the cards from our flop.
It was the Ace, King, 6 with 2 spades.
Yeah.
I'm like, close.
Hang on. Kutapas is going to get straight into this pot. There's over $1 million in there, and he has now added to that with another 465k. Up the nostrils of Ben, who has folding lips.
As Kutapas wins that pot, Mr. T on Twitter asks, is it odd job?
Well, you stop it now. Just come on. It's just being silly and rude.
Just to clarify for anyone who genuinely thinks that this competition is still going, Matt did give the answer. It was a trick question. It was Rihanna that he posted a picture of. And we're now going to put Whose Hat Is That on a brief hiatus as we focus on the four-handed action here at this final table.
Well, that's why I had to get extremes. I thought, you know, I can't do both these things. I think for the next webcast, we'll probably have to hire someone just to keep the hats rolling.
Speak for yourself, Ramsey Jalassi.
I knew that you'd have an opinion on the do you take a dinner break.
Yeah, I'm a great believer that the players alone should not be allowed to decide when the dinner break is. There are other people affected by the duration of this tournament. You know, if I was at a final table, I'd want to make sure that the commentating was not lackluster.
Lackluster. Okay, we're going to build ourselves a little half-mil pot here. Kudipus and Ocean. Blah.
Now, if one of these players would have a 10 in their hands, they'd now have quads.
Say that again?
If one of these two players...
yeah.
would have a 10...
And a 10, because they both have two cards each, and we don't know what they are, do we?
Correct.
Okay.
They would have quads.
Quads being four of a 10. High card wins.
Especially if the high card's a king.
No one knows where they are, thanks to the board. Let's see what you got. How many 10s have you got? Ace high wins every time.
Could be a chop. Nope. That'll do it, and Kutipas wins another pot.
See, I'm now confused whether that applause is for Kudipus or whether it just happens to coincide with the other game that keeps crashing into ours.
I get the impression there are some friends and family of Mr. Kutipas here in the Hilton Prague who are supporting him.
Good on him. They'll be the ones that vandalised our set with the Greek flag, but we'll let them get away with it. The police have been called, and they're going to take care of that issue.
More suggestions for the picture of Rihanna.
Oh, God.
Johnny says it's that guy who uses a picture of the Pope as his card protector. That will be Mario Adinolfi, and no, it's not him. It's Rihanna!
Yes. And you see there, sad confirmation that we're just taking a short break from Whose Hat Is That? Thank you for your participation. And I get a funny feeling it's not the last you've seen of that feature. I mean, when something is a rip-roaring success, you can't just shelve it, you know. Look at Mr. Kutipas's stack. He's got over 8 million now. It's tremendous. The amount these guys are so not shy about building the action for us. And here we go again.
Another 3-bet from Jalassi over the top of Boyassian's button open. And decision on Ben Warrington in the big blind. He starts his hand with 29 bigs.
He must have a hand of some caliber here, because he has said all in. They are. Thank you. Just chuck out some of them. Go on.
So he 4-bet shoves. Boyassian folds. Was Jalassi 3-betting light?
Well, I guess that's... I mean, obviously, Ben could have an absolute monster, but I guess he's hoping that actually the range that he can consider a monster in this situation is wider. Oh, shows the ace there, but...
So a nice pot for Ben Warrington. He needed that because he was starting to bleed chips again. Back up to 37 big blinds. And we have confirmation on Twitter from Zanis that yes, the cheering is definitely for Kutipas. I can hear them saying "go, go" in Greek.
What is go-go in Greek? Because I'd like to add that to my repertoire.
I'm sure Zanis will oblige with
Would
a
you?
further tweet.
Still jealous. I still don't understand why you're getting tweets that I'm not. It's like you've got some magic button. It just doesn't make sense.
So Jalassi has dropped below the 10 million mark again, but still has the chip lead. Raising his button. Gets a fold from Warrington in the small blind. And Kutapas defends. Jack 6-9 flop. Check to the razor. $275,000. Slightly aggressive with the call. By the way, the blues are 5,000s. You want to throw out 3 yellows, mate? Well, you can do it that way.
Slightly undercalling there. Sometimes it works.
Kate was on it. She spotted it was an underbet.
5 of spades.
By the way, for future reference, courtesy of Fotis, go in Greek is Pame. I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced.
Pame. Right, good.
Not a language I've ever studied, Greek. Did study classical civilization, but studied all of the tragedies and epics and comedies in English translation rather than the original Greek and Latin.
It's just a lot easier, isn't it?
It's a lot easier.
A lot easier. Cuts out that whole step of learning an entire different language. And that can be a real boon. Boom, hello. 650,000.
Yeah, if you're going to call this time, just slide the chips forward. Please don't throw them.
I'm impressed with the tidiness of the chip stacks. We mentioned this yesterday. Many as a player would do exactly what Jalassi has done in a slump forward and then knock them forward with a flick of the finger and they spread all out and then the dealer has to immediately stand them all up again. Let's just keep things tidy, yeah? Kutapas is kind of going to have a look here. Going to have a bit of a stare, have a bit of a think. And I think the cards are going in the muck. So again, nice little pick-up for Jalassi. Gets himself back over the 10 million mark. 10.5 now for him, while Kutapas slips down slightly to just over 7.5 million. Now shortest stack is Ben Warrington with 3.6.
Chip denominations just displayed on your screen. 3 distinct colours, I'm pleased to say. Blue, yellow and green and black. When Eugene Katchlov was with us earlier on, he questioned what the yellows were, because when he made the final table of an EPT, the 25,000 chips were orange. The problem is that the orange and the red 1,000 chips weren't that far apart if you were looking from a distance.
Bad planning. Somebody's head rolled for that mistake. All those extra chips they had to order.
I apologise. The disadvantage of you not being able to see us is you didn't just get Matt Broughton's reaction when he took one swig of a sugar-free energy drink.
Oh, look, that's actually made the hairs on my arm stand up. That was so horrible. That was absolutely horrible. What on earth is that? Oh, that's still affecting me. That is still affecting me. That was absolutely grim. Oh, for legal reasons, I won't name it. But good God, that was horrible. And the thing is, I'm actually quite thirsty, so I didn't just have a sip of that. I did man gulp. I took a half of that can in one go, and that is absolute swill. Anyway, woo! That woke me up. I was hoping it would wake me up for a different reason. But good God, that was a joke. Be careful if you're going to, honestly.
I'm not. I'm just going to inspect the product. The fact that this doesn't... Where's the brand name?
There is no brand name.
It just says energy drink sugar-free.
That's all you need to know, yeah? Well, if they'd given it a brand, that would have cost extra. And that's money they could put into the ingredients. Because that's some crazy dirt right there.
Matt's insides are currently being dissolved.
Oh, that is like, you know, the face huggers. He cuts the knuckle and the stuff just keeps burning through deck after deck. That's what's going on right now. Through the spleen, heading into the shins.
And under the gun raised by Ben Warrington was called by David Boyassian from the small blind. Boyassian checks and Warrington c-bets.
I mean, that's the thing, is one hand between these two guys, and they could see David Boyassian end up bottom of the list.
So Warrington adds a few, up to 40 big blinds now.
And he has just crept ahead of Boyassian.
Absolutely. David Boyassian has gone from being chip leader to the shortest stack at the table in what feels like about 15 hands.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is good news for the Ben Warrington fans, because he was hanging on and hanging on. The hanging on actually managed to ladder him up through quite a few decent payments, but actually now you can see the way these guys are playing. He could so easily find himself in the top two at any mo.
Under the gun raise from Kutapas.
Kutapas has just been really solid, hasn't he? Just been consistently chowing through this final table.
I think Ramsey Jalassi has just called from the small blind. Decision on Ben Warrington.
Can be a call of some sort of squeeze. Yep, he's going to raise this up. Still shows a lot of strength. He started this fight with his raise to 210,000, now facing that in light of Jalassi behind him as well. Well, he's not done with this. Unless he's just trying to take his chips back, which I don't think Kate's going to let him get away with. She's quite harsh like that. It looks like he is coming back over the top again. Made the raise, got called, got re-raised, and now he is building a pretty sizable stack.
There's the 4-bet.
Yeah.
Jalassi insta-folds.
Yeah. Which you don't know, depending on the strength of Kutapas, whether he's happy that Jalassi gets out so quickly, whether he was taking that into consideration. But now, Ben Warrington's got a real question, and also if he does go for this, he's out of position. It just depends if he's interested in this to come back or whether he'll go for it.
Ben Warrington confirming that Koutas has him covered. Warrington started the hand with around 4 million. So obviously he can't just call this 4-bet.
No, well it's well, not for the first time in Ben Warrington's day. It's a all or nothing.
Yes.
No, he can't go for it. Can't go for it. Bit of a dent there for Ben.
Koutas now up to 8.4 million in chips. And Ben Warrington is now the low man at the table one more time with 33 big blinds. It's a real tale of the haves and have-nots now. You've got Jalassi on 10 million, Koutas on over 8 million, and then you've got the two guys on around 3.5 million. And we're about 6.5 hours into this final table. 50% of the players who came into play today have departed. Is the final 4 from a field of 864. All now guaranteed €250,000, but obviously all hoping that they can get to the #1 spot, claiming the title, the trophy, and the €835,000 first prize.
Don't forget, guys, we're taking your thoughts and comments and questions. Hashtag EPT Live. And there's half a can of energy drink, sugar-free, on the offing. No competition, just if you want it, just ask.
I think we should sort of run a competition. If you get the answer wrong, you get the energy drink. It should be like the kind of the dusty bin of the competition.
No, I like our viewers too much to do that. I've been there, yeah, I've done half a can of that. That was no good.
Jalassi raises and doesn't get any action with pocket aces. If you want the password for the EPT Live free roll, it's coming up. The game starts in just over 2 hours' time. It's about 2 hours and 25 minutes. And Bahamas is the password you need. Now, if you're looking for this tournament, you'll find it in the EPT section of the PokerStars tournament lobby. It's a free roll, doesn't cost anything to play. You just need the password, Bahamas, all lowercase. And the reason why we've chosen that password is because the PCA kicks off on the 5th of January. Just as soon as we get into 2013, the EPT can head across the ocean to Paradise Island with a festival of 40 events. And there are satellites running for PCA 10 because it is the 10th ever PokerStars Caribbean adventure.
Messi.
A raise and a defend. We've been here before.
Yeah, I was just thinking if we had a little heads-up display, I think Mr. Boyacian would be defending of the big blind very often. It's such an interesting flop. It went check, check.
Anyone checking an ace for deception? We know that Koutas has done that before. Well, he now checks the turn as well. There's the check behind. Just going to get checked down. Is anyone going to put any money in?
Yes. And a very quick fold, so just no interest in that. Whatever it was that Boyacian defended with was none of that.
Matrikas on Twitter says, go Ramsey. He's tipping Ramsey Jalassi to win this. I mean, yes, he started the day as chip lead, but he had a bit of a wobble, but he's reclaimed that chip lead. He's been in command of this final table for a while now, although you have to admire the way Koutas is just moving up and up. 8.4 million now for the Greek.
Yep, it's been steady work. He's been impressive. He's sped up his game and he... he's been a big part of the action. A raise from Ben Warrington, just over the min, 210,000. Round to our serial blind defender. It doesn't look like he's going to simply call this. He's going to fire it back. Oh, hang on, no.
Yeah, it is a re-raise.
Yep. There's a bunch of them 100,000 green and blacks in there. 580.
It's a battle of the two shortest stacks. Yes, Ben, he has you covered, but only about 300,000.
Yeah. Hello?
Well, this is a virtual all-in from Ben Warrington, because any raise he makes will commit him to this pot.
Yeah.
That looks like 1 million total. Or is it a million? 1, 2, 3, 4, 850, I think it is.
Not that that really matters.
Are they going to get it all in here?
Well, I don't really see how they don't. If they go any further than this, even wherever the flop comes down, there's going to be such big chunks of their stacks involved in this.
Wow, this clicking war is just bizarre considering the stack sizes. How has someone not shoved yet? How has this got to 5 bets without an all-in?
Maybe they both have really strong hands and they're just trying to keep the ball rolling here. This is strong indeed.
With his stack, I'm not really sure how Ben can 4-bet fold.
No.
Having made that raise to 850,000, I don't see how he can now fold. And the kind of problem he's got now is that there's 0 fold equity. Even if he 4-bet shoves, there's a chance he gets a fold.
Yeah.
But now he knows his opponent's going to call him.
Yeah.
So it's all about, do I have the best hand? And I guess he feels he doesn't because he folds.
Wowee.
And Ben Warrington leaves himself 24 big blinds. And Boyassian is now up to 4.6 million.
Yeah, all that hard work from Ben to get himself out of that kind of horrible stack zone. He's going to find himself right back in it. And again, these guys so prepared to just get all their chips in so quickly. These pre-flop click back and forths. It is definitely bad news for Ben. He's going to have to work really hard again to get himself back into some sort of comfort zone.
Ramsey Jalassi gets back to the table just in time to play a small blind. Kutapas first to speak. Raises to 220,000 and gets folds from his opponents.
Job done.
Dealer change time. Still 21 minutes on this level. And there is the VPIP of the 4 players remaining. And this is based on a sample size of 138 hands at the final table. No surprise that Ramzi Jalassi is the most active player at the table. And also no real surprise that David Boyassian is above average. Defends his big blind an awful lot of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably the difference in the profile of those figures, isn't it? Is Boyassian is a lot of that is going to be defence, whereas Jalassi has been a lot of attack.
A walk. No, a fold, sorry. I didn't realise that Boyassian had raised.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no resistance from Kutapas's big blind there with that.
My last one, so I wish you the best of luck for everybody. Yeah.
So just a reminder about the 4 characters we're watching here on EPT Live, the 4 remaining players in this tournament. We've got David Boyassian from the Netherlands, who was the runner-up in last year's EPT Prague main event. Back-to-back final tables for him. Ramzi Jalassi has had a lot of deep runs on EPTs, but always seems to fall at the final hurdle. And here he is at his first EPT final table. Ben Warrington has $2 million in online winnings. Really looking to make a name for himself on the live scene. And then we have Sotirios Kutapas, an online qualifier from Greece. Mainly plays big buy-in tournaments online. This is only his 2nd live cash.
Checking a bet and a win. Simple.
So what are your observations on the table dynamic? Who has the momentum at the moment? Hashtag EPT Live on Twitter. Alternatively, you can email nuts@pokerstars.tv. Here we can see the number of hands they've played and the number of hands that they have won and lost. And yes, Ramzi Jalassi has played the most hands of anyone at the table. We already established that by looking at his VPIP. He's 57 and 26 and has a winning record both pre-flop and post-flop. Kutapas also with a pretty impressive record. 17 and 3 pre, 21 and 12 post.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Boyassian is the player who sticks out. 31 and 5 pre-flop, but 12 and 26 post-flop. What does that tell you, Matt, about his tendency to defend out of the small and big blind?
Well, exactly. If you were picking apart your game here for a bit of, well, let me have a look at the leaks in my game, you'd be going, well, actually, I don't know if this is really the way to go, mate, because it looks like that's the real chink in his armour is how much he's losing in that position. Yeah, I'm surprised it's that high. But I mean, we've been talking about that tendency in his game. Interesting to see how strongly it's worked against him in, well, just from a pure statistics point of view. But
I mean, again, I'm basing this only on the last couple of orbits, but he seems to have stepped it up a gear and is less inclined to just call now and more inclined to 3-bet from the blinds. Facing this button raise from Kutapas, he's re-raised to 380,000.
Yeah.
And Kutapas will call in position and play a flop. There's a Jack-6 deuce flop with 2 diamonds. No C-bet from Boyassian, he checks.
Your blinds are going up next turn. 500, 1,000 with a 100 empty. That's 500, 1,000 with a 100 empty.
Sorry, I thought my flight was being called for a second.
Please make your way immediately to gate 6.
Kutapas bets. 330,000.
Pretty quick call there.
Eight of spades on the turn.
Feels a bit blanky, if such a word exists.
Boyasian has checked again. And Kutapas bets again.
Well, I see a pattern forming in the last 13 seconds.
550,000, and again the quick call. Now,
Yeah.
remember, Boyasian 3-bet pre, but he's gone into check call mode.
But it's almost like he's already decided that he's going to call every time. Every time he does this, it's sort of Kutapas takes a while to think about what he's doing, and he cuts his chips out, and then just gets called almost immediately. So very hard to think about what Boyasian actually has. Oh,
It's been checked down, and
Kutapas doesn't even want to show.
okay, fine, win the pot uncontested.
So
I'm going to say this. I'm not a fan of this rule.
no, I've never seen it so oft
And I
displayed.
know, I've spoken to people about it, and I know the rule was debated. I mean, obviously, we have a number of tournament directors on the tour. Toby Stone, Teresa, Mike Ward, and this rule was discussed at length, and obviously they decided to go with it, but I'm not a fan. I just don't think you should be able to claim a pot without showing some cards. If it's played to showdown, if it goes check-check, if the other guy mucks, I think you should have to show your hand to claim the pot.
Yeah, because any disadvantage by showing the pot, well, you're probably taking some chips in your direction, so it's all fair game. You're just frustrated because you want to know what at least one of them had. You're used to knowing maybe only what one of them had, but to not know what either of them had. Mind you, it's interesting. I mean, it's kind of, you have to think in a different way, but for Boyasian to be that so sure that look, I know you're just totally on the move here. I know you've got nothing here. I'm going to check, you're going to bet, I'm going to call. Ben is all in.
No real surprise he's making this move. He's down to 22 big blinds.
Yeah.
Coming over the top of Boyasian's button raise. And Boyasian folds. I was going to say before that happened that in that confrontation between Boyasian and Kutapas that the gap had narrowed between those two players. I mean, Boyasian didn't give up too much there, adding an extra 200,000 to Warrington's stack. But he has actually sort of evened things out between himself and Kutapas. I mean, Boyasian playing 5.7 million, Kutapas playing 7.1. Warrington still the shortest stack at the table with 25 bigs.
Action is going to start. Boyasian this time round. Right, 50,000, 100,000, 10k ante. Boyasian is out. Jalasi on the button, reaching for some minty chips. No, he is not going to have a go at that.
By the way, just to quickly answer a question on Twitter from Tendy, he asked, how long will they play today? Until there is a winner. It's the final day of the tournament. We've been here before. Warrington raises small from the small blind, and Soterios bets big from the big blind, putting his opponent all in, and Warrington's forced to fold.
Yep. Yeah, 2.2 million after that hand for Ben Warrington, with just over 11 minutes left on this level.
Hello to Pedro, who tweets using the hashtag EPT Live to say, if you guys could recommend me one stop on the EPT, which one would that be? Best of luck enjoying the coverage.
No point asking me. I don't have the same range of experience as my colleague James Hartigan. Probably the sunniest one. I'm guessing something Caribbean-ish.
Yeah, there's something to be said for being in the sunny Bahamas during the winter months. But if we're going to play by the rules and stick with the European stops of the European Poker Tour, which would I recommend above all others? Well, I have to say, Pedro, if you're not London-based, I'm going to have to fly the flag for my home city and suggest you come and visit us in London for that leg of the EPT in March.
Patriotic of you.
Unraised pot, blind on blind.
Yep, happy to check it through to a turn. Brings the Jack of clubs. 2 diamonds out there. Kutapas is going to take a little stab at this. And that is going to very quickly end this pot. And that takes Kutapas back up to 7.5 million now.
Interesting idea from Stavros. Do you think the final table could be more interesting if there was a redraw after every player was eliminated? But like musical chairs, isn't it?
Yeah, I kind of like that. I like it a lot. They should have to swap trousers. Maybe I've gone too far. $250, $210.
Kutapas has folded, so the decision's on David Boassian. He's folded. Ramsey Jalassi in the big blinds will also fold.
Well, they know what happens if you get too carried away against Ben. That little red triangle of doom is going to come out quite quickly, I'm sure.
Well, I think if they're going to play back against him, it's put him all in anyway.
Yep.
Now he's down to 24 big blinds.
Absolutely. It's not the situation Ben would want to be in, but he's found himself in this time and time again. He claws his way back up, takes a couple of pots down, and then between the levels going up and just a couple of bumps on the road is back here in short stack land.
We were looking at those percentages, the win-loss records, Matt, and we were looking obviously at Boassian's post-flop play. I mean, a good point that Nick makes on Twitter is that he has got the bad seat drawer in the sense that he's got Ramsey Jalassi to his direct left. He says it's hard for Boassian to steal in position, so he struggles to keep up with the blinds, which leads to overplaying hands out of position.
Yep. Yep, no, that's fair point. Kutapas doesn't seem too worried about what Ben might do. Attacking his big blind. And here comes re-raise.
Surprised to see a 3-bet from Ben that is not an all-in. But then he's done that a few times today. It's a strategy that has paid off for him, so I'm not going to criticise.
No, he just clearly decides that there is another move left in his arsenal, even though we're not really expecting him to play that way. Intimidation equity, I reckon that is. If he's not sure about his fold equity, just shoving it all in, the scariness of him not going all in is scarier than if he went all in. Although actually, apparently, Kutapas isn't scared at all, so it's not worked on any front. I'll be over here if you need me. I've got to find some hats.
Kutapas has called.
There's a million in this.
And now we get some kind of funky stop and go from Warrington. Does he shove the flop?
He's about to put a rather sizable percentage of his stack into play. 410,000. Started his hand with 2.4. Could have had 7.5, so he doesn't have to worry too much about that element. But where's Ben going with this? Ben's going to run out of chips soon.
Yeah.
Which could be a problem for him. It's very hard to continue through a tournament once you've lost most of your chips. There's nearly 2 million in this. A check now. Check. River is a third spade, the deuce of spades.
I'm confused.
Check. Oh, please don't all fold so we never know anything. I'm going to have a word. Kutapas announces all in. And Ben folds. What is he going to have left behind him now?
15 big blinds, I think.
Yep.
Very, very strange. Tendier says he's confused because he was the guy who asked whether they will play down to a winner today. He says, why is there another final table on the schedule for tomorrow? I don't know what schedule you're looking at, but the one I'm looking at on PokerStars.tv has the final table of Prague on December the 15th, which is today, and our next broadcast isn't until the 7th of January, which is at the PCA. So I don't know where you're getting your information from, but there is nothing tomorrow, sorry. Javier disagrees with my assessment of the mucking rule. He says it's one of the best rules in the EPT. The last aggressor shows first, and if he mucks, you are allowed to muck, and it's a rule that should be everywhere.
Does he finish with so there, or just as was?
No, because he makes his last point as a hashtag, which is the same as saying
right.
So there.
Right. Okay.
Nick says, the Greek is the most surprising player, mixing things up well without going crazy. Any idea on his past live or online record? I mean, we talked about him a short while ago. He qualified online, mainly plays online. Prior to making this final table, his only live cash was a runner-up finish in a side event back in Lutraki in EPT8. But he's still a working man. He's an amateur player. I mean, he doesn't play professionally.
But giving a very good account of himself here. Kind of feels like he's just solidly played his way into second place in chips right now. Yeah. Ben with 1.4 at the beginning of this. He's getting to that stage where you wouldn't even bother be looking at your cards, would you? We know how you approach this stage.
Open shopping time.
Jalassi is not going to come along for the ride. Opens the door somewhat, all in, not massive surprise.
Kutapas now up to 8.4 million, by the way.
There's only 2.5 minutes left on this level as well, so Ben's equity gradually dwindling if we get through to the next level. No thank you. No thank you. So he lives to fight another level.
Now playing 16 big blinds.
Woohoo!
But as you pointed out, Matt, not for much longer, because we're 2 minutes on the level and the blind's about to go to 61.20 with a 20,000 ante.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. It's not just the blind increase, it's the doubling of the ante. That's really going to eat into him.
Yeah, that's absolutely massive. It just gives him almost no room for manoeuvre. There's every single hand becomes paramount.
Ben under the gun here.
And the problem is everyone else knows it. It's not like it's a secret, you know. Here he is, it's all in. You know, everyone knows. Everyone will be widening their range when they face him.
He says, dealer, please place that triangle in front of me as I get folds from my 3 opponents.
Hey! Again, a minute to go on this level before his life just becomes absolutely hideous. Right now, things feel bad, but as you say, when we jump up to 6120 and the 20,000 ante, he's just not going to have many orbits before he's just in real trouble. Oh, and you're the big blind. Sorry, did I mention that, Ben? Enjoy.
Kutapas first to act. Now, when you raise here, you've got to think that there's a very strong chance that the guy in the big blind is going to stick it all in.
Yeah. And from a mathematic point of view, it just kind of doesn't matter.
Now, here's my point. There it is. There's the all-in. Now, please don't tank Kutapas, because you should have had a plan.
Yeah, yeah.
And the plan is to call. So Ben Warrington is at risk yet again. He's had a fair few double-ups today. And
wow, this is good. This is, you know...
And he's racing here for another one. King Jack against pocket threes. And look at the Brits on the rail. Joined by some of the Spanish players as well.
They want to split, they want to counterfeit now. They'd be happy to let the king high play against the 2-pair board.
Oh, a set of threes, a full house in fact for Kutapas.
It's not over by a way. Now. Well, they are.
And that is the end of Ben Warrington. He did very well to survive for so long. He did really well to ladder up when he was a short stack. He goes out in 4th place for 250,000 euros. His chips go to Sotirios Kutopos, who's now got 10.19 million. Pretty even with Ramsey Jalassi, the tournament chip leader. And David Boyerson is now the shortest stack with 5.5 million. The players are going to go on a break. We're going to do the same, and then 3-handed action will begin here in Prague. 3 remain from 864. Which of these 3 guys will be the champion? And by our calculations, actually, Kutopos has the slight chip lead. 5,000 chips in it.
What you mean, in it, or in it? Like, in it? No, just checking.
Yes.